Hey, I just wanted to show everybody the products that we're going to use today in this test. This here is the Turbo Maxx. This is an 8-ounce bottle of the Turbo Maxx. We'll only use 2-ounce bottle of it. This is just one that we had sitting around in our 2001 Chevy Saturn. We used that in the engine oil. Then we put 2 bottles of this Turbo Maxx in the automatic transmission because it's not going to have any water, and we needed some extra protection in there. This is not nearly as strong as the Turbo Maxx, but we're not quite sure how the other would work in the transmission. If it's overdosed, there is a possibility that it might slip and not burn up, so we wanted to make sure we use this because this is already an additive that is in transmission fluid, and it's the primary ingredient that wears out in your automatic transmission fluid. And then we used the Turbo Maxx C4 fuel combustor catalyst. In the fuel, we used 1 milliliter to every 3 gallons of fuel, just like we prescribed. And what this does is it changes the molecular structure of the fuel, creates much less hydrocarbons and NOx gases, and reduces greenhouse gases by about 90%. And the process that it goes through to do that is it lowers the combustion temperature and lubricates the cylinder, so hopefully we won't have as big an issue with pinging and actually burning a hole in the piston before we have, we're really just looking for oil related issues right now, and I don't know how far we expect all this to go, but that right there's the 3 products that we used. And here's our test car. She's a beauty. It's got over 200,000 miles on it, and it's not in very good condition to begin with, so this is what we're going to use and see if we can see how far it'll go before it blows up. I've raced for my entire life, and I've been in professional racing for nearly 40 years, and I have only ever seen a couple instances, and that's with the use of our products, where an engine can run without fluid in the radiator and engine block for an extended period of time without blowing up. Usually it's, you run out of water, especially with a race car, you blow up in less than a minute. So we're going to see how far this thing will go. Hey, this is Troy from ZDDP Maxx. I told everybody we were going to get us a car and see about running it out of water and running the product Turbo Maxx in the engine oil. And we put a little bit of our ZDDP Maxx in the transmission just to make sure. Hopefully the transmission will hold up longer. We'll see which one breaks first. We're going to time this. Right now it is 55 degrees outside, and we're going to put a bottle of our Turbo Maxx in this. This is a 2001 Saturn. It's already got a crack in the radiator, and we're going to cut a hole in the radiator hose just to make sure it leaks out fast enough. And we are also going to cut the radiator hose, if I didn't already say that. You can see down in there, you can see a little bit of water. The people I got this car from, apparently it was low on antifreeze, and it's got oil leaks. It's got about 200,000 miles on it. The catalytic converter has fallen apart. It's really not worth saving. The air conditioning doesn't work. It's pretty worn out. It smokes like a train. I'm not so sure that the head gaskets are not blown in it, because once again the water froze in it. And so we're going to go ahead and start this thing up. I got an appointment with a junkyard just in case it does blow up for them to go ahead and take it, because they said they'll take the tires and the battery off of it. And we're going to take this thing out on the actual road and drive it and see exactly what happens. I'm going to turn this thing off here in a minute after we start it. Oh, I forgot to cut the water hose. Better reopen the hood here. The old trusty knife out. That thing's got about a 2-inch cut. Let me see, well, I guess it still has a little bit of antifreeze left in it, not enough to keep it from freezing now. And take this thing out. Let's get it started. Got a stopwatch on my phone set up. You got the stopwatches on zeros. From the time we start it, I'll go ahead and it's running, and push the timer, get it going, and as you can see, it's got 209,777 miles on it. We'll see how far we drive. As we go, and if something starts happening, I'll turn the camera back on. I'll see you back in a bit. Okay, we're underway here. You see, it's kind of a foggy morning out. So far, absolutely nothing because it hasn't got hot. We're going to try and not go too far from my house. We're going to call somebody to pick us up and call a tow truck once it does break. If it doesn't break, I don't know how long I'll drive it, but we'll wait and see. You can hear that thing. I don't know if you can hear it shift or not, but it shifts terrible. This car has all the classic problems of a 2001 Saturn. It's completely wore out. So we're gonna drive it for a while. We're gonna try to drive it mostly at 45 to 50 mile an hour speeds and see what happens. Check back in later. All right, we turned the heater on. We didn't get any warm air coming out of it at all, so apparently the water's way too low to make the heater work. And it smells like antifreeze like crazy. Water temperature is still kind of holding down on the lowest mark. Everything seems to be working just as it was. We're at the 11-minute 22-second mark, and we've gone, I don't know, 3-5 miles. We're headed outside of town now on a faster road when it's a 55 mile an hour speed limit, and we're going to let it run for a little bit and see what happens. Okay, it's been 22 and a half minutes. All the water's been out of it for a long time. Looks like the gauge is stuck. The engine has actually quit smoking. There's no smoke coming out the back of it. We're running down the highway here. I don't know if you can see this or not. We're actually going 60 miles an hour. And you can see how far we started out at 209,777 miles. So we got the service engine lights still on. I was looking here, it's got a, I can't see that. an AutoZone sticker. Looks like the oil was changed. It should have been changed at 208,000, I think. So it's actually 1,000 miles over what, you know, this product usually works best when you add it to something brand new. But it's actually driving fantastic. It sounds better than it did. It's shifting a little bit weird. When it downshifts, when we're going slow behind this truck, going up a couple of hills, it stayed in second a little longer than a normal car would, and then it shifted. But it's actually not shifting as hard now. It's shifting a little smoother. So we're actually outside of the area that we were going to drive in, because I figured by now, having run out of water, that it would have already seized up. I've blown up many engines in the past, and from overheating or lack of oil or worn out, whatever. I've probably blown up 20 engines in my lifetime, and this thing should have blown up already. We're going to see how far it'll go, though, and if it doesn't blow up, I guess I'll have to drain some oil out of it. I don't know that it will. So we'll check back here in a little bit again. All right, we've been driving along a little ways further yet, got out of some of the traffic. Decided to get out on a road that was a little bit faster, because 55 didn't seem to be doing it. One of the reasons we made this is to show all the people with the power strokes, with the stiction problems, how dependable and reliable Turbo Maxx is. And we don't believe that there's any other product on the market that even comes close to what Turbo Maxx can do. I've been called by the owner of Rev-x and called every name that there is, and told me 5 years ago how awful our product was. He never tried it, he never tested it, he never did anything with it. And at that point, we decided to change our formula. And we wanted to make sure that what we had wasn't even close to anyone else's products. And this is the end result. We have tremendous following of people with power strokes. We have a tremendous following of people in the racing community now that trust our products absolutely above any other. Right now, we're running down the road at 70 miles an hour with an engine that has, I don't know, we've been driving it for 28 minutes with no water in it at highway speeds, to show that this is how we get the fuel mileage. This is how we get the dependability. Everything that we have focuses on the complete quality of the oil, not just a single note if it does one thing or another, or it's a detergent or friction or wear. Ours is wear, friction, oxidization. Every aspect of any type of oil could go through. We've tried to address those issues, and we have. And we've tested them. And we have test cars all over the world running in every kind of different applications to be sure that our product is absolutely the best. So far, we believe it is. We haven't run across anything yet that we have found. We test daily to make sure we stay on top of the curve for our customers, because it's all about saving your equipment, saving your precious vehicles, saving your money. If it doesn't do all of those things, I'm not interested. But we have products to save our environment. We put the Turbo Maxx C4 combustor fluid in here so that the engine temperature and combustion runs 400 degrees cooler. And it puts out 0 emissions. I'm going to turn the camera around. I don't know if you'll be able to see or not, but we're running 65 now down the highway, and we're going to see there's no smoke coming out from behind this thing. Good. Pay attention to the road. So we're going to run it some more. I have no idea how this is going to end, but I don't think there's any other way We've done laboratory tests and pressure tests and cooking tests and this and that. And we had to put our money where our mouth is and go out and buy a car that's your average or less than average person's car that's got troubles. And I want people that don't have much money to be able to afford this as well, because they depend as much on their vehicles lasting, and they just don't have the money to spend that some others do. And I started this company because my kids had trouble keeping oil in their cars, and I needed something that I could depend on while I couldn't depend on them when they were 18 on doing what they needed to. We're going to go ahead and turn around and head back towards town. We're quite a ways away from our target area, so we're going to turn around and head back on the highway. I want to stay where I know I have phone service, so in case it does quit, we've got access to our tow truck, because we had no idea. We didn't want to have somebody just follow us around all day if that's what that took. We'll check back in here in a few minutes. Thanks. Bye. Back. We've gone 43 miles so far, and we've gone 40 minutes and 9 seconds, and we've been running out here on the highway for quite a while. We turned around, headed back in, and we're running about 68 miles an hour behind this big truck. We're going to run it back to where we started in town, if that's the case, and then turn around and come back, because we're actually on the same main road that I spoke to a scrapyard yesterday to make sure that they would want the car when I was finished with it. And actually they're very interested in becoming dealers, because a lot of people that use the scrapyards have some pretty special needs, and we think we can address some of the problems that people have buying parts that have sat around for a long period of time, or you don't know how they were treated before the new buyer gets them, or for people that just want to make sure that their other vehicles that they already have, they can get the full life out of them. And these guys also come from the racing background. There's a couple engineers that were in racing for years that now own this scrapyard. I found out when I went over there. I haven't actually met them, but I might actually know who they are once I do meet them. And we'll see if we can do some things to help meet their needs as well, and get a little bit more documentation on how well our products actually perform. Back in a bit. We pulled over here for a second and wanted to see. We're at 56, almost 57 minutes, and I don't know, it looked like we've gone about almost 50 miles. I want to check the engine temperature real quick. I want to make absolutely sure this thing is out of water. Pretty sure it is. Quit steaming and smoking a long time ago. I want to check its temperatures. Hold on. Oh. So there's no water. You can hear the water pump running. There's no water left in there coming out. And the engine temperature is 159 degrees, water 195. Exhaust temperature, do some deeper temperatures here. Engine block temperature is 150. Down on the side it's 165, so that pretty much means there's no water left in there, otherwise that would be at operating temperature. So that all looks pretty good. A little more steam coming up. We're going to go ahead and head back out the same way we went, run it some more. Get ready to go. See how far. Okay, we're back on the highway section again. We've gone 33, 63, 65 miles. And we're at an hour and 12 minutes, and we're still going down the highway. Oops, got to keep on the road here. At 65 miles an hour. It idles a little bit funny now, a little bit labored. We stopped and checked the water to make sure it was completely out. It's completely out. And we've used almost a quarter of a tank of gas trying to blow this thing up. We'll check back in a little while again and run it here on the freeway for a little while. See how it does. All right, we're at an hour and 30 minutes, and we've gone 85 miles. Temperature gauge is on cold. Got no water. Running 65 miles an hour down the highway. Still driving just fine, running just fine. No smoke, no nothing. We'll continue to do what we're doing here until I either run out of gas or run out of time or run out of day. I don't know. I don't know what to do next, but I do know one thing. I don't know of any other oil product out there that will do this. Archoil, Hot Shot Secret, Z-Max, STP, Hyperlube, ZDDP Plus. Even my own ZDDP Maxx, I don't believe will do this, although we do have it in the automatic transmission on this. I put two 2-ounce bottles in for this because the automatic transmission isn't getting any coolant because there is no water. So I don't know which one will give out first. Maybe neither one, I don't know. Whoa, we got a big truck here about to run over a Jeep. Not good. I guess truck driver should have been paying attention. Either that or the Jeep should have figured he needed a little bit more stopping room. I don't know. Oh well, nobody got killed. A little bit of excitement here on the road today. We'll be back in a bit. All right, it's an hour and 45 minutes. We've gone 97, no, that's not right, 87 miles, 88 miles. We just experienced a problem going up a hill and turning around in a parking lot where I believe that the detonation, from being so hot, it's having a hard time igniting the fuel, but once you get going again, it seems to run okay. It pings going up the hills, so it's having an octane issue with the excessive heat and whatnot, but it's not knocking or rattling or anything else. It has tiny pings getting ready to stop. And the computer's changed it to where it high idles now, that it doesn't have any water, probably so that it won't die. So we're going to keep going, see what happens. Check back in a bit. Alright, we've been at this for an hour and 59 minutes. And right now we're going about 63, 64 miles an hour. And as you can see, we just turned 100 miles of driving this thing with a cut water hose with Turbo Maxx in it, in the engine oil, and not Turbo Maxx, but ZDDP Maxx in the automatic transmission. And you can see here it's on cold. It's run all the water out of it, and the sensor can't even pick up a temperature without liquid in the engine block. And we don't have an oil light, hasn't come on. We are having a few little issues with going up hills and loss of power and pinging, but that's due to the really high combustion temperature that it's probably seeing, and not enough gas in there to ignite, so it makes it ping and has a hard time running. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when I turn around down here in a little ways If the engine tries to die at low RPM because of the sheer temperature, if it quits running, I'm guessing it won't be because it blew up. It'll be because it's too hot to make combustion. So we'll see what happens here in a little bit. All right, we're at 2 hours and 33 minutes of actual run time. I had to stop and get fuel, and it vapor locked, so I had to wait for it to cool off a little bit so it would at least start. And now that it's sat there for quite some time, we've gone, let's see here, 33, 34, 134 miles in 2 hours and 34 minutes. We're actually headed back to where we started from this morning because I've run out of time. Traffic is too high. It's hard to keep the thing running with the fuel overheating so bad. So, and the oil light has come on. So, so far I would have to say this is an absolutely huge pass. But we're going to continue on with this at a later date and try and figure out something a little bit more extreme to do to this same car. Check it out and see what the oil light is on for. Maybe because of temperature, maybe because of low pressure, I don't know. But we'll see. And we'll continue this another day. We're going to try and maybe get some higher octane fuel in it so it'll withstand the higher temperature before it vapor locks. And we'll try this again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with us. And most of all, thanks for all you people who believe in our product, Turbo Maxx. We really appreciate your business. And remember, we're in this for you. Obviously, we make a little profit from it. But our profit margin is much smaller than our competitors because we put more in our product that actually does you some good than anyone else. And if they want to say not, they can go right ahead and we'll do a head-to-head comparison because we've done chemical analysis on all of their products, and we know what's in them, and we know how much of it that's in them, and we know what's in ours. So once again, thanks to all my faithful friends and business partners and whatnot for sticking with us and believing in us.